Welcome to OneUnderPodcast. I'm your host, Adon. And in today's episode, we would like to talk about things that, a lot of people take for granted and they don't really understand that in the long run, the only person that could be affected by this is yourself. And we want to talk about how to disconnect from work. For a lot of people, it's kind of hard to do this because they don't know how to disconnect completely from work in a way that they don't have to think about things that happen at work, things that are going on at work, or things that are related to work. So today we want to talk about some of those things because if you don't know how to disconnect, this is something that could really, you know, um, mess yourself up. And you know, I understand that a lot of people are really responsible and they want to do things the best way they can. They trying to implement some of the skill, in and out of work for themselves. But at the same time, one thing is to be responsible and the other thing is to pretty much um bring work home and vice versa, because sometimes there's other people that they normally bring their own issues, to work. And in a way, it could translate and it could transmit at the same time. So the same thing happened when you are a very hard worker, and you want to bring some of those things from work home that doesn't really help in any way or on anything. So one of the things that I would say are very important whenever you have a job, it doesn't necessarily have to be law enforcement or, something that had to be out there on the street dealing with people. Whether you're a firefighter, EMS, uh, medical, nursing, anything that had to do with people. Sometimes you need time for yourself, and sometimes you need what is called rest. If you don't rest your mind, if you don't rest your soul, and you constantly want to be, on top of things that are related to work, you would never be disconnected. And like I said before, it's good to be responsible, but there's also something called rest. And that's one of the things that a lot of people um, don't understand. And that's why some of us or a lot of people feel guilty in a way. And you only come to realize that you're feeling guilty about stuff that you didn't do or about things that you do when your days off come, you know, to you. When you off, you want to do so many things and you realize that the time it is not enough. And it's not enough just because most of the time that you were able to do things, you didn't do it because you always connected to work. You always thinking about work. You always doing things for work, and you bringing your work home. You bringing your job to your house, and when things like this happen, when you often bring stuff from work to your house, even if you feel like you off or you taking a break or you resting, it's not happening. It's not working because you are not able to disconnect completely. And for you to disconnect from work, you have to be, you know, really um really focused, or really, you have to be really serious about your time. You have to be really serious about your time. And sometimes you even have to be, I would say, um you know view realization as an investment. That time that you need to rest, you have to see it as an investment in which you're gonna be the only one that's gonna benefit from it. The another thing is that you have to think about yourself. You have to think about yourself in a way that, you are your own priority. You have to be your priority. I know and I understand that everybody need their job, and you have to work hard for whatever you do in order to fulfill some of the financial needs. But at the same time, if you don't need if you one of those that never disconnect from work, you always gonna feel guilty, and also you're gonna feel like a slave. That whenever you feel, or whenever you have any type of freedom or any type of free time, whether you do or whether you don't, you're always gonna feel like you haven't done anything, even though you probably do a lot. So that's why it's good to disconnect from work. Also, you have to take it slow. Being overachiever, a lot of time is meaningless. Because you might go from something, or you might go from nothing to everything, or you might go from something to nothing, because you want to do so much, and sometimes it's not even worth it. If you're not taking the time for yourself, if you're not working, investing in yourself, then everything else is not worth it. I would say it's not worth it at all, because what's the point for you to do a lot, and all the things that you're doing pretty much are not satisfying yourself, because you always want to do more, and you always want to keep going and going and going and going, whether you in or out, whether you on or off work, you want to keep going. And that's one of the way that people easily could burn down, in a way that you know um you become, I would say, edge. You become angry, you become cranky, you become jaded, because you think that you're not doing, but at the same time you're doing too much. And that's one of the reason why you know you need to disconnect sometime. And also you have to create what is called friction. You got to make it harder to go back to work during your day, during your hours or your days off. You know, because you have to make it, when you have those days off, or when you have that time off, you have to make it enjoyable to yourself, in a way that, even though you need the job, you don't really need it, because you are completely disconnected. You know what I'm saying? You are doing stuff that are 100% unrelated to whatever you do, whatever type of work you have, whatever job you have. And that's one of the things that make you feel better. And the main key, and the main one, is to rest. You need to rest. You need to have time for yourself. You need to have time to enjoy your time off. You need to have time to enjoy your family, your people, and things like that. Because otherwise, you're going to go back to work, and instead of feel better or feel good because you're a hard worker, you're going to feel bad, you're going to feel restless, and you're going to feel guilty of not doing or haven't done whatever you were supposed to do when you were off, even though you know that the time is never enough because you want to do so much that the time is not really enough when it comes to do things for yourself. So I'm going to leave you with this. Take time for yourself. Try to rest. Find something enjoyable that you could do that have nothing to do with your job, with your work. And always keep in mind that you go first and then your job. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more One Under.